In June of 2002, there were two movies that I distinctly remember being in theaters: Spirit and Scooby Doo. I really wanted to see Scooby Doo. My aunt was taking my cousin and I to see Spirit, you know, the movie about the dumb horse, but I was not about to let that happen. I had other plans. And with enough campaigning, convincing, and button pushing, my aunt finally caved and we saw Scooby Doo in theaters. The 2002 film Scooby Doo can be remembered as one of the best adaptations of any animated film ever. But what made it so great? Why did this movie turn out incredible and not this one? I'm kidding, we're not going there. At least not yet. But we will. Maybe. We'll see. The film received terrible reviews from both critics and audiences at the time, but us kids loved it. And because of that, it's a cult classic. Even with the low ratings, this film racked in a whopping $275 million, so we can just let the haters be haters. Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed are two completely different movies. Like, yeah, obviously, Casey, they're two completely different movies, but I mean, like, they just have two different vibes, okay? So we're making two separate videos, so you can watch the second one later. Look, you've seen it. If you haven't, go watch it. Rent it on Amazon for $4 or watch it on HBO Max or Max, whatever the hell it's called right now. But just go watch it if you haven't seen it. By far, the strongest element to this adaptation is how they stuck to the original characters, but also modernized them. The casting choices were S tier, with Matthew Lillard as Shaggy Rogers. I mean, who could have done a better job? I think they were originally going to have Jim Carrey in it and then Mike Myers, but I couldn't imagine them replacing Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard portrays the second most accurate depiction of Shaggy Rogers, with the first being the late Casey Kasem. To this day, Matthew Lillard still voices Shaggy and remains very attached to the character. It's probably his most iconic role to date. Linda Cardellini plays an authentic Velma, Freddie Prinze Jr. plays the lovable douchebag, and Sarah Michelle Gellar plays a vulnerable and hilarious Daphne. Neil Fanning voiced Scooby-Doo, and the way that Scooby-Doo was animated, although it was very outdated for today's standards, I just loved this character. I love Scooby-Doo now. I loved Scooby-Doo then. I'm talking about the one in the movie specifically because he's just so lovable. I have to give it to Matthew Lillard for this film. He had undeniable chemistry and maintained that throughout the entire film with an animated dog, and even made me tear up at the end. And he needs to be remembered for that. Where's the Oscar? I need to talk about Daphne for a second because, unsurprisingly, Daphne was my favorite character out of the whole film. Something about Sarah Michelle Gellar beating the absolute out of a man just made me increasingly gay. I don't know. I can't explain it, but gay icon. Undeniable gay icon. I wanted to be her. Something about a confident woman just fuels me. You know what I'm saying? Her displays of hyper femininity and go-go boots made me want to wear go-go boots as a kid. And I still kind of want to wear go-go boots. Icon. When she's at the airport and she's trying to take a bunch of Louis Vuitton bags onto the airplane and gets confused as to why she can't. Icon. I don't know if this bimbo stereotype is considered offensive in the year 2023, and if it is, I really don't care because I loved that she was unapologetically feminine. I thought her initially being stripped down as the one who gets kidnapped to then being the character who saves everyone was really inspiring as a 6-year-old frail, weak child who was very feminine. And at the time, I felt like I was being represented. I don't know. I just really identified with Daphne as a 6-year-old boy. I don't know if this makes sense to anyone, but I really hope so. I just wanted to be Daphne. That's it. I'm moving on now. The first cut of the film was supposed to be like an R-rated horror comedy, but it was received so poorly from the audiences, the test audiences at the time, that they changed the whole movie. Like, for instance, the monsters that were animated were originally made to look a lot scarier. They were even referred to as demons instead of creatures. So my assumption is that because they rushed this, that's why we have really poorly animated monsters. I didn't read this anywhere. I'm just like assuming this. So it could be that, or because it was 2002 and animation technology was a lot different than it is today, but I digress. But it really makes you wonder what this movie could have been. Unfortunately, we're probably never going to see this R-rated cut as much as I want to. I think they should just release it. I think they should just throw it on a streaming platform. Why not? You know, what's the worst that could happen? The Velma series already pissed off a bunch of people. Just like throw it down. Leak it to me, I'll upload on YouTube. But the fact that the finished product is basically an edited version of an R-rated horror comedy explains a lot. I feel like that's why the movie has the charm it does, because I couldn't imagine this film not being a movie that pushes the PG rating. Like, that explains why we have all these adult jokes, weed references, and occasional swearing. One of the interesting facts about the original cut is that Velma was supposed to be a lesbian, and I think she was supposed to have some kind of relationship with Daphne. There was even a supposed kiss. This is a rumor, not confirmed, but this is a very consistent thing that I'm reading online. There's even a deleted scene where Velma's doing drunk karaoke and she's singing "Can't Take My Eyes Off of You." She's kind of singing it to Daphne as she's walking down the stairs. I love that scene. I wish they could have kept it. It actually makes sense if you put it in the original film, but I get why they removed it, because it definitely insinuates that Velma's a lesbian. They were trying to give her this love interest at the end of the film. I don't know, it felt weird, but I wish that they kept Velma as a lesbian. I mean, I can't be too mad because this was 2002, things were different, and it probably would have made it be a PG-13 rating or even an R rating, because God forbid we have lesbians in movies. At least we have what we have. Also, I don't care what anyone says. The fart scene is still hilarious to me. I don't want to take too much time breaking down the costumes, but if you want to know what the year 2001 looked like, just watch one scene of this movie. Mary Jane's outfit in particular was what most young women wore back in the day. The hair, the clothing, the vibe, the Sugar Ray cameo. I mean, this film displayed a Y2K era like nothing else. All right, so that's it, guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how to eloquently explain my love for this movie because I'm not ChatGPT. But I love the cast. I love this movie. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. are still married to this day and continue to be unproblematic Hollywood couple goals. So, very cool. Thanks for watching, friends, and subscribe if you want to see the second movie, because I'll be watching that.